Welcome to the Bio Girl Health Show with Carol Newman. Do you want the energy and vitality you need to fully enjoy your life and all of its possibilities? Carol Newman can help teach you how to nourish your body with healthy organic living, keeping you beautiful inside and out. And now, here's your host.
Hi, I'm your host, Kimberly Henry, and I'm here with Carol Newman. Today we'll be talking with Carol about an excellent breakfast choice. But before Carol joins us, just a reminder that if you have questions or comments for Carol during the show or at any time, you can send your questions on Twitter using our hashtag BioGirlHealth. Carol, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you, Kimberly?
I'm doing fantastic. It's always great when it's a great day when I get to sit down and spend some time with you. We have a fun time.
Yes, we do.
We're going to talk about eggs today. Eggs, they're just such a versatile food, and there's a lot of myths and things surrounding eggs and how best to eat them and all that, and you're going to enlighten us, right?
I sure am.
Good. I need some enlightening.
Okay. Well, as you said, eggs are one of the healthiest foods you can eat. And it's a shame that they've been vilified for so long, especially in the United States, because of the dogma that was generated, concerning cholesterol. And the funny thing is, I wonder if the dogma started when egg beaters came on the market. If you wonder, because I remember when Crisco came out on the market, they started to stigmatize coconut oil. So you wonder. You never know.
Interesting how those things take shape. And that was back, around the 70s or
yes.
So when eggs started becoming kind of persona non grata, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. But so there is a major misconception that, you must avoid eggs and like eggs and saturated fat to protect your heart. And while it's true that fats from animal sources contain cholesterol, this is not necessarily something that will harm you. We do have cholesterol as in every cell of our body. It helps produce cell membranes, hormones, vitamin D, bile acids that help you to digest fat. And cholesterol also helps in the formation of memories and is vital for our neurological function. And I was looking at a study done by Ron Rosedale, MD, who he said he's widely considered to be a leading anti-aging doctor in the United States. And he said, first and foremost, cholesterol is a vital component of every cell membrane on Earth. So in other words, there's no life on Earth that can live without cholesterol. And that will automatically tell you that in and of itself it cannot be evil. So in fact, is one of our best friends is cholesterol. It's not our enemy. Mm-hmm. So anyway, there's also been numerous studies that supported the finding that eggs have virtually nothing to do with raising your cholesterol. For instance, there was a research done by in the Internal Journal of Cardiology, and it showed that eggs were not harmful. The negative effect on the endothelial function and aggregate measure of cardiac risk was not a concern, and it did not increase your cholesterol levels. So you're wondering, how did the notion that eating eggs will raise your cholesterol and in turn raise your risk of heart disease, how did it come out? We wonder, how did that come about? And what happened was it was the mistaken lipid hypothesis and its role in the demonization of eggs. And it was an ill-advised principle based on the study done in 1950s by a nutrition pioneer, Ansel Keys, and he linked dietary fat to coronary artery disease, and he based unfortunately it was an unfair claim, and since then it's been debunked because more evidence has come out. But he thought that because the egg was a high cholesterol food, it would in turn cause high cholesterol in the body. So that was good to know that they found that out. And so
it was a conclusion that kind of had gone wrong.
Yes.
And just ran away with itself, is what I'm hearing you say.
Exactly.
Okay. So you're saying it's not true?
That's what further
the cholesterol
studies...
in eggs does not raise our cholesterol.
Correct. And further studies over the years has proven that fact. And that was back in the
That is
1950s, so you figure they've been doing a lot of studies since then. We're already in 2013.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. So what then? So you're saying that eggs is a good, healthy thing to add to our diet.
Yes. And
what are the benefits?
The benefits, for one, eggs are almost the perfect food. Especially, you have to consider your egg choice. And so, for one, you do not want to buy commercially raised eggs from commercially raised chickens. And it was something when I read about how the chickens, how they take care of the chickens. In the space of like a two by two, they contain like 6 chickens in that small little area, and you're thinking, they are pooping, so you might have a problem with disease because of that. And chickens, or common sense, chickens need to roam free. I mean, would you want to be contained in a 2 by 2 with 6 other people? 2 by 2 space? It's like, okay.
No, thank you.
Right.
And I think that would increase like stress hormones and all kinds of negative effects that would make their way into the egg.
Right, exactly, because they do have a protective membrane. It's a cuticle on the egg, but the commercial manufacturers, they put the eggs through like a chlorine bath, and then they put a protective coating again over it, like an oil, because the membrane on the egg is porous. So whatever you put on it, even if you washed your egg like in soap, like before I rinse mine, I don't put soap on it, but it would, because of the porous membrane, it could permeate that. So you have to be careful with the eggs. And I do buy mine locally, so you have to want to know what they're feeding their chickens, because an egg is considered organic if the chicken is only fed organic food and will not have bioaccumulated high levels of pesticides from the grains. And of course, most of the grains are bioengineered, your GMOs. And then many of the eggs are advertised as having omega-3, and you're thinking, oh, that's healthy. But it might not be as good as you think, because they use flaxseed to increase the omega-3 fats, and they won't be as beneficial as if they feed the chickens like seaweed or kelp, which have a far more beneficial DHA and EPA. So the flaxseed is far inferior to the marine fats. So that's why it's good to find a local person who raises chickens locally with organic fed, that are organic fed.
So if you can't find someone local who's raising chickens and selling eggs, if you go to the grocery store, is there a better choice that you can make versus a not so great choice?
Yes. Go to a health food store and make sure that the label does say that they're not only organically fed, and list what they're fed, and also that they're free-range chickens, so they do get to roam around. They're not caged.
Okay, so organic, free-range eggs is what we're looking for.
And then
excellent.
Eggs.
I always wondered about those those omega-3 eggs.
Oh, you did? Okay. The other thing is they contain zeaxanthin and lutein, which is good for your eyes. So, and they are high in antioxidants. But the thing you have to be careful about is how you prepare them. I personally consume them raw, and what I like to do is I will make my smoothie, my protein shake, so I use 1 organic egg from my local farmer. I put 2 scoops of Defense protein powder, a tablespoon of organic cocoa powder, 1 frozen banana. I usually use 1 cup of unsweetened almond milk, and 7 to 8 ice cubes, and I blend that until smooth. But one thing that I do, even though I listed the ingredients and I listed egg first, I blend everything first and then add the egg last, and only mix it just a tiny bit because the egg protein can be damaged. It's very fragile. So that's why I do it that way. And I know some
now, Carol, isn't,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, isn't that something that people say not to do, is to eat raw eggs?
It is. And the reason for that is because of the salmonella scare, which, we have to worry any time we eat, of course. Even if you go into a restaurant, there's always a possibility that you can get a foodborne illness. But the thing is with salmonella in eggs, more than 23% of the farms with caged hens tested positive for salmonella, compared to only just 4.4% with organic flocks and free-range flocks. So that's a significant difference. So your likelihood of acquiring a salmonella poisoning is very slim because, for one, chickens cannot lay eggs when they have a disease like salmonella. Then they usually won't lay eggs. And most of the time, the salmonella comes from cross-contamination. So it's actually when they cracked the egg. So if you get them from a local farmer, and you know that they haven't, it's actually best not to have them washed, believe it or not. Even though you look in the carton and they may look dirty, they didn't wash them because it still contains the cuticle, which is a protective membrane. Then you just wash them when you get home, wash them before you eat them. And another point I wanted to make is you really do not have to refrigerate eggs. If you know that the farmer is collecting the eggs daily and you've bought them fresh, they can stay out 7 to 10 days. But you need to know that. That's very important, because when you buy commercial eggs, sometimes they've already been on the shelf 3 weeks. That by the time, not maybe on the shelf, but by the time they traveled and made it to the supermarket shelf, they're already 3 weeks old. So that's why they have to do the chlorine bath or some type of pasteurization. But the thing is, with the pasteurization, it really doesn't offer a benefit if the egg was cross-contaminated. Like in the cracking of the shell, that pasteurization no longer doesn't, affect the egg at that point. So your best bet is just to try to find a local farmer, or like you were asking, go to a health food store if you don't have a local farmer and just talk to one of the employees there which egg would be best. Or they might be able to recommend a local farmer you're not aware of that may be able to provide you with eggs.
Excellent. So that's some really good shocking information there. Wow. I didn't know that eggs could be such a deep subject.
Isn't that funny?
So is there a reason that you do, I want to ask you about your protein shake some more. Is there a reason that you would do a raw egg in a protein shake versus a scrambled egg or, some other way of cooking your eggs?
I'm glad you asked that, because, the reason is for consuming the raw egg you want to eat the entire egg. A lot of people want just to eat the egg whites because they think that, the yolk is where all the cholesterol is, and then they figure they're getting their protein, so they don't need the yolk. But the yolk is very high in biotin, and the egg white contains avidin, which is a type of protein. And what happens is that avidin will bind to the protein in your body, so you can become biotin deficient. So if you eat the egg yolk and the egg white, you cancel that out because there's enough biotin in the raw egg yolk, so there isn't a problem. Another thing that you can do is cook the egg white. But the thing is that scrambling your eggs is one of the worst ways to eat eggs because it actually oxidizes the cholesterol in the egg yolk. So if you have high cholesterol, this may actually be a problem for you as the oxidized cholesterol. may cause some damage in the